Well, I'm really excited to bring our next guest to the desk because he spent the last year doing something very special. It all started when he lost his office job last summer. And days later, he created I Want to Mow Your Lawn. It's a charity offering free lawn care to veterans and seniors in his New Jersey community. And that was just the start of a movement for mowing. From one man and one mower, it's grown to, guess what, 115 volunteers across 31 states.
Wow, that's a movement.
Story, and I literally can't believe it. He's actually here right now. Please welcome Brian Schwartz in the flesh. You have this hard moment where you lose your job. How did you turn that into looking outwards and wanting to take care of others?
I felt like my world was caving in. And, I went outside to mow my own lawn. Just to clear my mind, just think about life, like what's next. And I found it to be just like a form of therapy. So I just packed up my mower into my family Jeep, drove around, and just kept going. Give social distant yard work free of charge.
I know you have been, I think about what you did, which is just one little thing, mowing a lawn, but it started a movement now. You've inspired so many other people, and I know you got one letter in particular from somebody that meant a lot to you.
Yeah. So hearing from all kinds of people over time, got this letter in the mail from someone that I don't even know who this person is or what they're going through. Like, got a little card that says, "You make a difference."
Oh, this is the actual letter.
It's the actual letter. It says, "Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people." And that kind of just says, "You are the reason, sir." And so that motivated me just to keep it going. I got this T-shirt made on her behalf, whoever it was, and I wear it.
Oh, I love that. And what was her name?
Her name is Sloan.
We actually have a follow-up from the letter. Here is the woman who wrote you this letter. Her name is Sloan. And roll the tape.
Take a look right there.
Hi, Brian. I'm Sloan Sheridan Thomas. I'm the person who wrote you a note about I Want to Mow Your Lawn, your service that you're providing during this pandemic. And I was truly inspired and wanted to appreciate you for that. I think you're amazing. And I'm also just appreciate how much your business has grown since then. And thank you for doing all of this for old people and veterans. And let's stay in touch and become pen pals. That would be great.
Oh.
I promise I'm gonna cry. You would.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Nice to know she is real. Put a face to the mysterious angel.
Unbelievable. She changed the world.
Well, I want to donate $5,000 to your lawn. I want to mow your lawn. I love it. And I love you, Brian Schwartz. You're just so amazing. Thank you so much.
It's just amazing just to be here. Just so amazing. So thank you.
Everybody, go to thedrewbarrymoreshow.com to learn more about I Want to Mow Your Lawn.
Hi, I'm Brian Schwartz, founder of I Want to Mow Your Lawn, Inc., based in northern New Jersey. We've expanded our operations to 39 states, enlisting 180 volunteers. We provide free lawn services to elderly, military veterans, disabled, anyone else in need just looking for some relief. So,
I literally had to look up to see when I had you last. So Brian's been here before. January 15th, 2021. Which is so weird because social media, I feel like I know what's going on because I just watch you on social media. I watch you on LinkedIn. So I always know.
Likewise.
Yeah, and I'm like, love. Like,
I appreciate your support for sure. Like,
like, I mean,
along the way.
honestly, it's like, it's such a amazing ride it's been. And so I'm like, I bringing people back on because, I mean, we're still in a pandemic, but it is not like when I met you in January. It was Christmas 2020. I was in Florida at my mom's house, and I was watching the news, which of course I don't own a TV set, so I don't ever watch the news. I worked in the media, so once I got out of the media, I didn't want to watch the news anymore. And you came up on, I believe it could have been either the Today Show or it was something Today Show, or
if I
CBS.
recall, it might have been like, yeah, CBS Saturday Morning or something.
Exactly. It was something, but it was during the week, but it was like something. And I'm like, oh my God, how cool. And I had just started the podcast in April 2020. And I'm like, I go, what a cool story this is. I go, this is lovely. And then you come on, and then it became emotional. I'm like, oh my God. Because of course, CBS, they only focus on the business. They don't focus on you. So of course, me, I focus on the human beings. And I was like, oh my God, there are so many more layers to you, my friend. And you have blown it out of the water. Like, I mean, blown it out of the water from the time I spoke to you to now. It's a different company. It's added on the visibility. So I'm just, that's my intro to you, how much I love you, how much I adore what you're doing. You're kick ass in every single way. But I want you to tell everyone what's happened in the course of, I mean, it's a little bit over a year that I've spoken to you. What's like, where are you now from where you were to where you are now?
Yeah, I appreciate that. And first and foremost, again, congrats on keeping your thing going as well. I follow along, and thank you again. So happy to do a follow-up too. And yeah, so I mean, when I spoke with you, it was just like a couple weeks. My father in hospice, he passed away late January of 2021. So that was, like you mentioned, like an emotional time, like back and forth. You know, I was in the middle of just trying to figure out life still, and I was still unemployed at the time, and just figuring out. And that was almost at the height of the pandemic, and all kinds of like, you know, media coverage was coming out because, you know, I mean, what I was doing wasn't anything, groundbreaking. You know, everyone's always tends to help their neighbors, but I guess, you know, between like millions of people losing jobs like myself, and you know, seniors being vulnerable to the virus, I guess it was just like a story at that time, like good time, like resonated well. And you know, just along the way, just started to get, you know, inquiries all across the USA, just through sheer word of mouth and all the public relations that we were receiving. And just, you know, also people in a similar boat might have been just like laid off and had equipment, or just had some spare time during the lunch hour if they might have been working from home, or even just you know, college students. So a wide variety of folks like just reach out looking to help, and just got some, you know, donations, and turned it into a 501c3 nonprofit. Thanks to you know, I started a GoFundMe, and part of that story is my father, you know, while he's dealing with his own battles, with his brain cancer battles, he actually had the presence of mind to, you know, contribute to that GoFundMe. And that's just kind of been my personal motivation, just to keep going, like inspiration. Like I want to just make him proud, like not knowing where it's going. But yeah, I mean, I got the, you know, registered 501c3 nonprofit through the IRS. So it's like a legitimate registered charity now. And so figured, you know, I've started businesses in the past, and with not much success, and I learned along the way, and I realized not any form of like media coverage, positive media coverage. So I figured I'd, you know, ride that momentum and convert it into something even bigger. And that would require, you know, getting other people on board. You know, thankfully, since we last spoke, I am back to work full time, like on a contract role, back into the working world. I do have their blessing to keep the nonprofit going on the side as time permits, because not much of a conflict, and, you know, just giving back to the community. And it's challenging, it's rewarding, overwhelming, just so many emotions, because, you know, in between like a regular job that obviously takes precedence now that we're, you know, able to pay our bills again and our mortgage. You know, I have a 20-month-old at home, so that also, it's a lot to balance. But so I really appreciate you know, also, the help with, we have our both of our mothers as like grandparent helping out, while, we're both back to work, my wife as well, and she's supportive of the profit. So it takes a village, like I couldn't have even got this nonprofit to this point where it's at now, without their help as well. So I really appreciate families' help.
Brian, let me just, I want to stop you for a quick second. I'm going to have you probably repeat a couple of things just because the internet is breaking apart a little bit.
It's my side.
Yeah, so I just want to go back a little bit. So when did you start working full time? Because you're so active online and you're doing a lot of work with this. I don't even know where you're having time to sleep because there's so much that you're doing. You're doing so many interviews, so many people are engaging with you. You're doing like crowdfunding. You're just engaged. How are you doing a job and having a family? Where do you have the time to do all of this?
I don't get a whole lot of sleep. I caffeinate a lot. And I'm also trying to do the gym, like a regular workout. So it's a lot. Honestly, I try to like manage expectations as well. Like when the clients tend to reach out, thankfully, I reinvested like mostly everything. Like you can ask my wife, I haven't made a single penny off of this, and so just reinvesting back into like the technology a little bit to make things a little bit more streamlined and automated, collecting some information. And, I've raised enough to make my second part-time hire, to help, it saves me an hour and a half to 2 hours a day between client relations and volunteer relations. Mm-hmm. So that's been instrumental. Otherwise, I think I'd explode at this point. But I'm just figuring out as we go. Like, I know there's only so much that one could do, looking back at previous year, like the stats, only have been able to help 1 in every 3 or 1 in every 4 inquiries that have come. A combination of just a backlog and not having the bandwidth, which I'm working toward improving with these recent hires, but also like not having as much, supply versus the actual demand. And so, just fast forward to this past summer, I was considering, setting the organization, being that I am back to work, just didn't have the actual, coverage really. I was getting, occasional like one-off help, like in different states, like in Wisconsin and Michigan and Texas, but it just wasn't sustainable. And then some game-changing coverage came in, like around like August, like from local newspaper on NorthJersey.com, and even like Upworthy gave us a plug, which I didn't even know that they were running the story, and that changed everything. Then like somehow actress Drew Barrymore like stumbled across the Upworthy post, I believe, and had her team reach out and made an appearance, which was just surreal. Like, was there in person, sitting next to this actress that I've known, being born, watching TV. But that was cool. She made like a generous donation, and that, it inspired others to also join up and get involved. And so it made me do a double take instead of sunsetting everything. Keep it going, and where it goes. I hope that helps answer.
No, it does. What in regards of what have you learned from all of this? When we first met each other, life was overwhelming. The pandemic was overwhelming. You're a new dad. What was the greatest lesson that you learned in regards of finding it within you to create something that has become such an amazing, what's the word that I'm looking for? It has become such a lifeline for the people that you're helping, but also the people that have found you that are now helping other people. What's the lesson for you throughout this entire process of figuring out where am I as a person? How do I create this? How do I keep it going? And even just engaging with the people.
Yeah, no, so many parts to that. But what first started as me just keeping busy, feeling good, helping others. Like I found, I almost like inadvertently like found myself in a sense, like doing this, and found greater meaning and purpose and wanting to keep it going, realizing that, I'm getting like, letters from people that might hear about the story that we're not helping directly, but they might read about it in like a state over, and like they'll send like through the snail mail or mail. And I'm like, like we're actually like making a difference, not just people directly, but indirectly. Like you don't know what these people might be going through, and giving some form of like hope and inspiration when at a time when they needed it. So that feels really nice, just hearing from others, like finding some form of uplift. And even like when we're on client premises, not only are the clients thankful and appreciative, which is it's all that matters. Like it's just a really good feeling. Just but also like their neighbors would walk over and say thank you, because it helps make the rest of the community look nice. So many layers to it all, and just it's nice. Like I like to call them moments, MOW. Like it's just cool to see. Like there was one guy that that's back to work that joined me back in like August 2020. He's out in Long Island, New York. That his name was Patrick, and he ended up going to help a former Marine veteran out in Long Island that was referred by his daughter. His name was Dan. Oh, so sorry. The first guy's name is Patrick, and the client's name was Dan, who was a former Marine. And Dan's landscaping equipment broke. He had too much pride to like look for help and whatnot, but his daughter is the one that reached out. And so Patrick went to go help Dan with landscaping, and Dan was so inspired that he actually ended up joining Patrick as a volunteer on future visits with other clients. So that was just like one other moment. Like another one was, there was a guy down in Texas named James that found the organization through like a plug on ABC 13 Houston with the mother that first joined us and got some publicity, and he was inspired by it. He was laid off in the oil industry field, and he converted a motorcycle carrier into a lawnmower carrier and started carrying that around, like helping elderly and military veterans, someone that's like suffering from Agent Orange from Vietnam War. So he found some, meaning just keeping himself busy. So all these little moments, pretty cool.
You, you weren't very aware of the military, or vets before, were you?
Yeah, no, really just honestly just started with the senior citizens, just considering, thinking about my grandfather who passed away right before the pandemic, and realizing the stress that families were going through, not having proper burials and worried sick about their own, grandfathers or fathers. And we probably would have been worried sick about him. And so I just, seeing everything going on in the news, just wanted to help them out specifically, just anyone that was vulnerable. And as we're on premise, helping others, realizing like having these conversations is more than just like helping like with the lawns. Like they come out occasionally, and like it's been more about the human connection. And as we have these conversations, like we're realizing some of these like served in the military. So that opens up a whole new world of just like not just like on the marketing side, but just like giving thanks for, helping, their sacrifices to them, their families, and for providing us the freedoms we all have.
One of the things that I love that you just said, but just to really focus on that, is the conversations. A lot of these individuals had been inside their homes, no one coming to their doors whatsoever, no one interacting with them. And just to see how amazing they're just whether it's snow, whether it's leaves, just like mowing the lawn, someone doing it, but just seeing you weekly or bi-weekly or something like that. Because my mother in Florida, she literally bakes for the person that mows her lawn. She gets so excited because she's like, I know he comes on Tuesday and I'm going to make him and his wife a banana bread, because he said that he loves bananas. And those little tiny moments where it's the interaction between the individual that is the homeowner, but also the individual that is coming in, and I get to eyeball you and make sure that you're okay.
100%. Yeah, that's my favorite part of that. It's fun to get a nice workout in and cut the lawn, because it is a form of therapy and just good workout. But it's also nice to actually put faces to names if they're around, and just hear about just being a listener or whatever. So it's cool. Just lets them know they're not alone throughout all this, if they are alone. So
when did you decide to like, well, I mean, when did you get your job? I'm sorry, I don't know if it's the same job that you had before, but when did you go back to work full time? And when did you decide that I want to keep this? Because you could have just said, you know what, pandemic is pretty much not over, but it's like lessening. We're able to go out. I have a job again. Why did you decide to go through keeping it and making it a formalized organization?
Yeah, so I started my current job in May of 2021, so I'm approaching almost a year now.
Mhm.
And one of the conversations I had was like, it was important for me to keep it going just through all thing that, like this thing, like this whole initiative, like truly changed my life, like helping others help me in a sense. And it's a feeling I don't know where it's going, to be honest. Like things are changing on the fly, and like I'll speak to in a sec. But yeah, no, I just felt some greater meaning, and I just didn't want to let it go. Just with all the success it's had, and I realized it's even though the pandemic's over, like this is still a need. People just might not have like there's labor shortages. Landscaping contractors are kind of like pivoting a little bit because it's become a little bit of a saturated market, to my understanding, just based off my own conversations with landscaping companies. And so they're focusing on other areas. And so that it makes less availability for people that just don't have the financial means or the physical means.
Mhm.
So I realized there's always a need for it. There's an evergreen need, and just felt like there's perpetual opportunities, like to not just keep up the momentum, MOW, but create all these other fun partnerships potentially. Like we're on client premise. Like sometimes I realize like they'll ask about other areas of expertise one might not know. Like we don't do like pest control or tree removal, and so I feel like there's opportunities to expand those relationships in some way.
There are so many people that created something. I mean, myself included, we created something that we would have never thought about during the pandemic. What advice would you give to people? Because I mean, obviously you've been reading like everyone else where I believe at this point we are over 15 million people that have walked away from jobs. And it was literally as the world was opening. So it's not like it was during the pandemic and they got laid off. It was like as the world was opening, people walked away from jobs, and high paying jobs, not just like the Dunkin' Donuts and the Dunkin' Donuts and the Starbucks that people just assume. People were just like, the pandemic made them, like you just said, think differently, see themselves differently. They've created something or they want to create something. What advice would you give to anyone that is either still thinking about creating something or someone that has created something? They're like, I am so passionate about this. What do I do with it? I mean, like I'm back at work, but I don't want to leave this alone, and I don't want to lose myself because I grew a whole new me out of this thing that I created. What advice would you give to any of the people in both of those buckets?
It's a very good question. I'm still trying to figure my own stuff out. I had a feature in the New York Post regarding volunteering can help boost your resume. And so I wouldn't recommend, like, especially if someone's living the paycheck to paycheck, it's hard for me to suggest just take that big leap if you're reliant on that. But at least if you can find time over the weekend to get involved, whether it's through your own thing or a similar organization, just to like learn the ins and outs and like build up a network before you take that big plunge. Like I wasn't given that opportunity, so my back was against the wall in a sense. But those that are considering it, and if they do have the financial means, like to have a little bit of a runway, 3 months, then by all means go for it. Yeah, and like as the old saying goes, like if you build, they won't come. To go to them. So you gotta still, put in the effort. As it's a lot of work to build up a brand and business, and no matter the industry, I feel like, unless you have something that goes viral or whatnot. But yeah, just do like research just to make sure that there's something that's not out there already. Like what I did was, just straight out of my heart, and I'm learning that there's potentially other organizations to partner with that do something similar. And so I'm not trying to compete, but just collaborate in order to help more people. So just really just finding a niche and put your little personality into it.
what does your family think that about all of this? I mean, they watched you throughout. I mean, they watched you from the time that everything personally was happening, the time that you started this business, you getting out there all the time. I mean, like you mowing lawns was your escape. It was your therapy. It was your escape. You were out there. You coming home exhausted because you're just trying to help too many people. I mean, I'm watching you online and I'm like, holy crap. I mean, I'm exhausted watching this and I'm so proud of them. Because your background is marketing. So that's, I mean, obviously you know how to do it, and we're not doing it unauthentically. We're doing it because this is what we do. We breathe, eat, drink marketing, but we also can create content. It's not that hard for us when we do it all the time. So what does the family think of the evolution of who Brian is right now?
So yeah, no, I mean, everyone's really supportive. They definitely, had a fundraising gala not too long ago in person for the first time, just a couple of weeks ago. Had about 40 attendees aboard, like with family, immediate, extended, some volunteers, a couple board members, even had a keynote, one of which actually quoted you from our last.
I know. I actually am going to be on the phone with her later on today.
Deborah, yeah, that's so cool. Great. I mean, great speaker. Like, we actually got connected, I think, through a similar outlet, like might have saw on CBS or something, but it's really nice. I'm glad that we stayed connected, and she helped set the tone for the rest of the evening, which was successful. But my wife gave a little speech. Like, she thought I was crazy in the beginning, just when I told her to film me mowing my lawn, and see where it goes now. Like, she first thought I was crazy, but now that she sees, like, people are, finding happiness or whatever, she fully supports it. As long as I also, pay attention to my regular job that actually pays the bills. So my, and just to add to that, yeah, like about the tiredness and whatnot, like I'm out, like I feel like my neighbors probably hate me because I'm out like helping other people versus doing my own lawn. So hello neighbors, if you see this, I'm sorry. I do my lawn too, as time permits.
It is one of those moments where, like, I go, we want to help others. I mean, like, even when I always worry about my neighbors. I'm in one of those old historical quintessential New England homes, and they have thin walls. And so when I'm doing a podcast from overseas, I'm like, they can hear me because I get so excited. I'm so happy. And I'm like, and it's early because it's in another country, and I'm like, well, I'm with you. I mean, can't please everyone, but we can try to please as much of people as we possibly can. Where do we go? I mean, where do you think you will go from here, and where do you want to go? I mean, like, let's just say in a perfect world, this continues on. What would you like to see happen, and what do you want? Anyone that's listening to you right now, what do you need help with?
Yeah, thanks. So actually this year, like within the last couple months, recently updated with a new mission statement. So it's maintaining the same core of our actual focus, but also inserting to the mix a focus on earth-friendly options. So we're looking to not only obviously help others, but also help the environment by encouraging the use of electric and battery-powered equipment. That doesn't mean that we're turning away people that might have gas, because we can use all the help we can get with all the demand that I'm getting all across the USA. But just being a little forward thinking now in terms of like where things are going in the industry, seeing that California is the first state to start banning gas powered equipment come 2024, just considering the effects on the environment and of course, rising gas prices. It also helps save money overall. The only concern, of course, is the battery power maintenance, but I feel like that'll improve over time with innovations by companies. But definitely want to be a little bit forward thinking in terms of just encouraging the use of electric, and that requires just if we can get donations to upgrade active volunteer, or even in-kind equipment donations directly from these equipment manufacturers. And so I'm in kind of like in a holding pattern with a few of them who've made generous donations towards myself, but hoping to expand on one of these relationships. All it takes is one, just to buy into this and support others that also want to help do good in their areas, and just try to duplicate what I've been able to do here in different areas of the country, and get more people on board to help others and help the environment.
I'm so happy you brought that up because so I live in a small quintessential New England town and 38,000 residents. And that's been that's been an argument along the way where it's like I go get to stop using the blowers during certain times of the day, and also to get rid of the gas overall. But they weren't talking, or the discussion wasn't coming up about electricity. They were just talking about just getting rid of it altogether. And I'm like, well, there's like, it's a lot of work for the individuals. And a lot of the individuals that they hire are migrant workers or seasonal workers. And so it's great to say get rid of it, but at the same time, the individuals that are working hard, they only have a certain amount of day. And obviously, the more lawns you do, the more money you make. And so I do love the fact that you just brought up the whole entire concept of electricity, but how long does that last? So you have the gas, I go and you like, I mean, obviously gasoline, you pour it in, you go. But for a battery, how long does that last if it's a lithium, or I don't know what was the best model?
Yeah, so I've tested a few different ones, but they all have their like, perks. Like, I mean, the size of the battery I've found does matter. Some might be more quiet than others as well, which is super important. Like, to speak to that point about the noise, like, we had myself and another volunteer went up to Inglewood, New Jersey to help out an elderly senior, and she asked us not to come until like 2 p.m. because like she had like weird sleeping hours.
Yeah.
But we indicated, like, after speaking with her, that we had only electric equipment that was much quieter, and so we were able to come in a more preferable time, like in the morning, at 10 a.m. and never even woke up from it. But I've tried out, like, there's a 60V battery by Toro. There's DeWalt's, they're historically known for their tools. They have a 3-in-1 push mower that I'm able to test out. But yeah, no, I think it's definitely the future with, seeing companies invest in electric. But it's always good to have an extra battery or two. And to answer your question, like, I was able to at least complete my front and backyard with one battery charge, but by the time it was done, wasn't much left. So definitely important to have like spare batteries around.
In regards to, you're seeing how the government is focusing. I mean, obviously, it's not even just the government. It's like globally. During the pandemic, you saw animals, especially, like, I think they focus on Italy. You saw a lot of the sea life coming back. You started seeing the birds. You started seeing, the animals were like, oh God, we can actually like come around. We saw people going for hikes and enjoying nature. We are still seeing, despite that we had all this time off and things started appearing, we are still damaging this planet. At the end of the day, we're still damaging this planet at a very, very fast rate. Facts. From everything that you're seeing and everything that you're doing, what could the average person, yes, we can go for electric if I can afford it, but what could that average person do when they're trying to take care of their property? Because you just said it, where the value of the house and the neighborhood goes down if you're not taking care of the property, but then there's always all these different costs. So what do you think that an average person could do in regards of maintaining their property and making sure that they are not hurting the environment, this is such a loaded question for you, but you've been going from house to house to house and seeing so much that most people are not seeing because they're just seeing their own personal bubble.
I mean, honest answer to that, straight up, would be artificial turf. I think that just not having to redo, mow over every other couple of weeks. For starters, instead of, like, some don't like how, they might not like the length of the grass to be cut after a certain, you just go 1 inch lower so that you don't have to every 2 weeks, but maybe do it every 3 weeks. So kind of like flatten the curve in terms of how long, how frequent you mow it. Maybe it might not be 100% green tone, just like with the sun, and but if we can go a little bit lower, then maybe that would help just save a little bit in terms of how much gas we burn on any given day collectively.
So artificial turf for, would you say like elderly?
In place of at least some areas. Like I have a friend in Arizona that is high on the idea, like he has it in his front yard, so there's no maintenance that's really required, just like occasional brush up versus an actual equipment. And so that was just one recommendation. But I'm sure it's costly. I don't know, honestly, the ins and outs of implementation on a massive scale, but if there's areas that could be, patched up, that's probably the best solution.
One of the things that I'm also seeing are rock gardens, where people are replacing the grass with whether it's the rocks overall or topiary, where they're like adding a big boulder and then the trees, and so they're changing it up where there's not as much maintenance with there's the planting and the weeding, that's different, but that's a therapeutic in itself. But people are getting rid of the lawn because it's getting hotter. The damage from the environment is not helping the lawns, and people are paying extra money to try to get that perfectly green lawn, which in some areas you just can't get that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Or even telling some of the, one thing that, we've also tried to focus on with the organization is to help those in low to moderate incomes. And so we implemented something on a client sign up form to kind of like almost like have a fast pass verification. And so we give them options to upload like household income so that we can prioritize helping them, because those are the ones that like are being affected the most. Like they might get like slammed by the city with some fines like HOA or whatever. And so we've helped people save money on that front, but maybe just like a message out to all these, town agents that instill these fines for overgrowth, maybe give some slack on that as well, so that it's not as important sometimes, so that we don't have to, find someone to go on premise for 4 or 5 hours and knock on.
I have to say that it sounds like you're doing so much more than just mowing the lawn. You're advocating for so much more that, and I don't think that's how it started, but this is how it's leading up to, where you've become the voice for so many people that probably are afraid to talk, don't have the bandwidth, or just even they don't know how to find the person to help them solve a simple problem for their property. And so just being there again, you're the voice for the elderly, you're the voice for the vets. You've just done so. I'm so proud of you. I really am so proud of you. I said I didn't want to take too much of your time, but I definitely just want to know, how is it being the dad? You're a dad, you're a business owner, you're a husband. How is it? You started being a dad right when everything was going crazy. It was
straight out of quarantine.
You had a baby during the pandemic. It's like
straight out of quarantine.
Yes, it was insane.
Pandemic baby.
Well, I think that I asked you if you did you go into the hospital? Were you able to go in the hospital and watch the baby deliver? Or
thankfully, yes. Like it was right around the time, like right before that, they passed a law to allow at least the father to join. But yeah, no, it's been amazing. Like he's turned 21 actually, and he's a really happy baby. I don't know if I mentioned in our previous chat, but he was born with like a rare cataract in his right eye. And
you mentioned it. Yeah, you did mention that.
I did mention. And it's like 1 in every 3,000, 4,000 babies. And it's just, we don't know if it's genetic or just luck of the draw. And that required some surgeries over time and ongoing maintenance for the next probably 10 plus years with daily contact insertion. So that's like an added layer of stress that one would never have for. And then on top of that, you have to like patch the good eye to train the bad eye. So
to make it
try
stronger.
to explain that. Yeah, and try to explain that to a toddler. It's not easy. But it's all just make him proud. Someday he'll be able to look back and see what I did just when going gets tough. Gotta be positive.
You are, my friend, you are by far one of the strongest people that I've ever encountered. Again, we've never met each other, but you're in New Jersey. It's not that far. I can definitely come and visit you, but you are, I'm like, I tell people about you all the time. Literally, I tell people about you. No, honestly, because when I saw you on TV is one thing, but then I got to know you and you are so resilient. That's the only word I can think of that's the best for you. Like you are so resilient. And I'm sure there are days where like, I'm not feeling resilient today. I'm having a really horrible day. But you have like showed me over and over and over and over again that anything is possible if you work hard at it. And I go, and yeah, you're gonna have a bad day. I mean, I feel like during the mornings, I'm like at my best and I'm like rock star. Afternoon, I'm finding my groove. And then at nighttime, I'm gonna eat a pint of ice cream pity parties because I just feel like I'm not doing enough. And then I just look at something that you've done and I'm like, oh God, thank God for Brian. Jeez Louise.
Yeah,
So, I mean, you're helping a lot of people that you don't even realize that you're helping. So this is why I'm so grateful that you are in my life, because you are just doing good things. You're doing good things and you're just a good person. You're fun.
Thank you. Yeah. I try. I guess apple doesn't fall far from the tree with my parents who raised me, and thankful to them.
Yay, mom and dad. All right. So again, I always say I don't want to take too much of your time, but I always end it the same way. So no matter how many times, and I'm going to talk to you again, like maybe before a year, maybe next year. But if you had a personal ask and a professional ask of anyone that's listening to you right now, what would be your personal ask and what would be your professional ask?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm not one that likes to ask for anything. So I almost want to take a rain check on that, but I guess professional. I mean, if anyone's in the electric space or wants to help contribute to a better world for future generations, please touch. If you want to, whether make a donation or sponsor, or we're open for business, gonna keep going like Forrest Gump, no stopping. Keep mowing. And on a personal, yeah, I mean, if anyone has a child that doesn't like to put a contact lens in their eye, I'm open to networking because it's hard work. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, if you're in the Jersey area and want to meet for coffee and just chat about business or whatever, I'm around.
I love that. I always want to say, like, I want to really come back. I always say, like, if I'm in the area, I'm definitely going to come. So wait, where in New Jersey exactly are you? Just so that
North New Jersey, Passaic County, Wayne.
So
Wayne, New Jersey.
I think from Queens area, how long is that from Queens?
It depends on any given day, but just on a bird's eye high level, hour driving, hour and a half max.
Okay,
hour,
that's not
like to get to my wife's up, like she has family in East Chester and it takes us about an hour. That's like right near Scarsdale area over the bridge or one of the two bridges.
Yeah, so I mean, I usually do, because I'm crazy, I'll do a day trip, or I mean, literally from Massachusetts, I'll do a day trip to either New York or New Jersey. And I love driving. So during the summer, I'm usually I visit a friend in Jersey Shore. And so is it near?
It depends. Shore's quite, there's something that's close as like an hour away, but can go 3-4 hours. What part of Jersey Shore?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm from Massachusetts. I just drive. Like I put in a Waze and I just drive. I just go.
It all looks similar. There's only one spot that you can. It's called Sandy Hook, and it looks like you can. Well, when you go out into the ocean, you can still see the skyline from New York City, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give the same feel as some ones that are more south, where open ocean everywhere.
Well, all right. So literally, when I know I'm in New Jersey, I will literally just I'm coming just for coffee or tea or just to hang out for a little bit.
Please, by all means, happy to connect.
All right. If you ever need anything, you know where I am. And I'm just, again, round of applause to you. And even just like the motivation. Come on. Love that. We're going to get I need a new headshot because you're just so polished today. I like it.
Maybe I got a little red. I actually started doing my own lawn yesterday. So just getting warmed up.
I love it though. I'm so proud of you. Again, I can keep saying it, but I'm just going to keep saying it. I'm so proud of you. And thank you so much for just always just checking in. You're awesome.
Yeah, you're awesome. Keep your stuff up too. I'll keep following and supporting too. So.
Thank you, darling. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
You too. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Bye.
Jodi. Take care.